Many of you listening to this video have heard of power and authority, very important concepts in political science, important concepts in politics and government. The question is, what are the differences between power as a concept and authority as a concept as well? It's important for us to understand the differences. That way we can use the terms in the proper context. All right, so let's take a look at this. We begin with power. And we want to understand what power is. So we have several definitions of power here on the left, and there's several definitions of authority on the right. And once again, it's important for us to understand the differences, because when we interact with people, we want to use the right term, and when we're in situations, we want to describe the right concept. So power then is the ability to command and persuade others to see your point of view. Now, this is very critical, right? The ability to persuade, the ability to have other people see your point of view. That is power, right? So when you have power, you have that ability to persuade people to see your point of view. And this is very common with politicians. When they campaign, they put out the agenda and they have voters, see the way they see it. That's power. Right? To the point that the voters vote for them on election day. That's power. So a voter that was intending to vote for another candidate suddenly votes for a different candidate because now they see the agenda and they believe in the agenda, and they believe the agenda is going to move the country forward, is going to move the state forward, the province forward, and they vote for that candidate. That's power. That candidate has exercised power. The ability to command and persuade others to see your point of view. Now, it doesn't have to be with politicians only. It could be in conversations with friends, with relatives, with a spouse, and having that person see things the way you see things and see things from the lens that you see things. You have exercised power. On the other hand, authority, it's a legal right to command and ask people to do what you want them to do. Now, let's take this again. It's a legal right to command and ask people to do what you want them to do. Now, the term here, legal right, is very important. And why is that? Because for you to have a legal right, you have to have a position, right? This is very critical for us to understand. You have to have a position. A position is critical when we talk about authority, because position gives authority, right? So positions give authority, and without positions, you don't have authority. So a politician who is in power, who is in office, has authority because that politician has a position. It could be a parliamentarian, it could be a president, whatever the case may be. That position gives him authority to ask people to do what he wants them to do. So, for example, you can say, let's change this policy, or let's build some roads. Right? Because he has that legal authority to do so, given to him by position, right? Given to him by the position he holds. Now, on the other hand, we have power does not follow a set and defined hierarchy. On the other hand, authority is the very nature of hierarchy, right? And this is very important to understand as well, because when we talk about authority, we talk about hierarchy, right? So we have different positions. In an organization, you have different positions, and those positions have different levels of authority. Some can have a level where they can hire and fire people. Some can have a level where they can only review CVs and refer those CVs to a higher authority. Some have authority to sign checks and to withdraw money from the company, organization, bank account. Others don't have that authority, right? So the authority then is based on hierarchy, right? And depending on the hierarchy, you have different levels of authority. Power does not follow a defined set of hierarchy, right? And this is a very important point as well, because power is the ability to command and have people see the way you see things. It doesn't have to be in the way of hierarchy. You get power by maybe oratory, you get power because you have knowledge, you get power because you have money, you get power because you have fame and so forth, etc. And that's not a hierarchy. There's no hierarchy structure involved in that. All right, so let's move on. It is personalized power, that is personalized. The person has the power, it cannot be delegated. So that power cannot be delegated because it's not in a form of hierarchy. You have the power because of your abilities, because of a skill level, because you are a super athlete. Suddenly you have power because you can change things. You can use your platform to have people see things the way you see things. It is personalized. It cannot be delegated. It cannot be passed away. It cannot be outsourced. Right? The person has the power. It cannot be delegated. And when we come to authority, we want to understand that it is institutional, and the person loses when they leave the institution or no longer in that role. Right? So when they leave that position, they lose the authority. Now, there is no position here when we talk about power, right? Because again, power is obtained by, a skill that you have, perhaps, your abilities, your capacities, and so forth. But here, authority is given by position, and once you leave that position, you lose that authority. No relation to position, it is floating, right? And this goes along with the previous point as to it being personalized. The person has the power, it cannot be delegated, right? So no relation to position, it is floating. Has relation to position, it's attached to a position. Again, it's important for us to understand this point. Authority is attached to a position, right? So the CEO has authority. Once the CEO is no longer the CEO, he loses that authority, right? He may still have a little bit of authority because of his connections and so forth, but by and large, he loses that authority in that organization. Not so when we talk about power, no relation to position. It is floating. That means you don't have to be attached to a position to flaunt the power. As long as you have those skills, as long as you have those abilities, you are able to flaunt the power. It comes as a result of personal factors like charisma, strong personality, money, education, knowledge, skills, and so forth, right? That is how we get power in society. So as opposed to based on hierarchical relationship, superior subordinate relationship. Once again, this is organizational. Once again, this is attached to a position. Once again, if this person leaves that position, they lose authority. Because the position that has given them authority is they no longer occupy. They no longer have that position, so they lose authority. Does not follow the rules of hierarchy. It is hierarchical in nature. Once again, we've said this before. I just want to emphasize, power does not follow the rules of hierarchy. Not at all. Once again, the source of power is personality, money, business acumen, knowledge, those sort of things give you power. So it does not follow the rules of hierarchy. Authority follows the rule of hierarchy. It is with the person in their capacity or role, right? So power is with the person in their capacity or role. It lies in the position in an organization. So it's important for us to understand that when we talk about authority, the authority lies in the position, not in the person. And this is a key point to understand. Authority lies in the position, not in the individual, right? So once the individual is separated from the position, they lose the authority. Here, again, there's no position. Power goes with the person. Wherever the person goes, they have the power. Again, as long as they have the personality, the money, the influence, they have the knowledge and the ability, they still have the power, and it goes everywhere with them. There is no such thing as it being attached to a position, unlike authority. All right, so let's take a look at this again. Ability to command and persuade others to see your point of view, power. On the other side, authority is the legal right to command and ask people to do what you want them to do, right? So again, the point here is legal right. Power does not follow a set or defined hierarchy. It is very, very hierarchical. Authority, that is, it is very nature is hierarchical. That's what it is. Hierarchy. It is personalized. The person has the power. It cannot be delegated. It is institutional. And the person loses when they leave the institution, no longer has that role, that's authority, right? In no relation to position, it is floating. Floating here means it's on its own. It's independent, unattached. Has relation to position, it is attached to a position. And here it comes as a result of personal factors like charisma, strong personality, money, and so forth. On the other hand, it is based on hierarchical relationship, superior subordinate relationship. So the superior has authority over the subordinate and can fire that person at will. Does not follow the rules of hierarchy, follows the rules of hierarchy. It is with the person in their capacity or role. On the other hand, authority, it lies in the position in the organization, not in the person. Once the person is separated from that position, they lose authority. So these are some of the critical differences between power and authority. Power as a concept and authority as a concept as well. One is individual, one is personal, the other has to do with organization, the other has to do with position, the other has to do with the ability to maintain that position, to continue to have the authority to command people, etc. These are the critical differences.